Your goal is not to touch things this time, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Hands are in my lap.
Hands in your lap. Keep them in your lap, right?
Not stare out to look weird. Start this thing already.
All right, yeah. Podcast number 3 or 1.5, 2.5.
Yeah, if everything's recording.
If it's all recording. And we are shooting live from Old Blue inside SFJ4x4. We're actually inside the shop.
Because it's cold outside.
Because it's very cold outside.
And dark.
And probably more importantly, because it's dark. And we would not be able to see the ambiance that is Old Blue if we were outside.
We'd be floating heads.
We would be floating heads. Also, I've had a number of industry partners reach out about shooting in Old Blue, and they are all convinced that they're going to have to do it in the freezing cold. And
so did you remove the heater for your foot store?
I did remove the heater because there was not enough room to shift with my big boots.
I'm glad the temperature is on full quorum, though.
The temperature, the thermostat controls. I actually just saw today that there's a guy who's selling seats for vintage Willys Jeeps. And his post is very explicit. It says, "I'm not cutting the fender wells." Of course, in the CJ6, you don't have to cut fender wells. If anybody's familiar with the 6, you don't have to cut anything. It's super long. However, with the Willys, like the 2As and the 3Bs and so on and so forth, he is selling a replacement seat that he's making.
Front seat or back seat?
Front seat for the driver.
Oh, so you don't have to cut into the fender well.
He's saying that you don't have to cut into the fender well.
Like I did on the 43.
Like you did on the 43.
Yep.
But he's selling a seat specifically, and he makes the argument. He's like, yes, a tilt column will help with your gut, and
can't make this tilt.
But you can't make that tilt. But somebody retrofitting something.
Yeah.
And instead,
like I also did on the 43.
Like you did on the 43.
Yeah.
You did a lot of cool things on the 43.
Yeah.
We're gonna own that in this process.
What's that?
Well, the cool things you did on the 43.
Oh, okay.
I mean, amongst other cool vehicles over the years.
Yep.
But his contention was actually the legroom, that his seats.
Batman seat.
No, his contention is it doesn't matter with your gut.
Oh, okay.
But this is actually for long legs.
Oh.
And similar to the issue, the reason why we ripped why I ripped the heater out of Old Blue is I couldn't get my feet and my legs
touching the steering wheel with your
touching
knees.
the steering wheel with my knees, and the boot was up in there. So
people were shorter then, I think.
Well, they certainly not. Yeah, certainly not 6'2", 300 pounds.
No,
so obviously makes it a challenge. And
if the pedals could just be on the floor, I'd be very comfortable.
Well, you're kind of tall too.
Yeah.
And it is important to note, this is the SFJ4x4 podcast, and we are here today with our mad scientist, service writer, and my personal best friend, Scott Old Man Brown, and then myself, Neil Simpson of Simpson Family Jeeps, SFJ4x4.com, and we are here talking about life, vehicles, cool adventures, and pretty much anything under the stars and moon, except for politics, because our only political stance is be kind and share the trail. So with that in mind...
Be kind, rewind.
No, be kind and rewind. Did you... How many of
our age now?
No, showing our age, be kind, rewind. Did you have the rewinder? Did you actually have the pop-up speed rewinder?
They made one that looked like a 57 Chevy. I really wanted that when I was a kid.
They made a rewinder.
The glass, the roof popped up.
No, it did not.
The tape.
No, it did not.
It was a red 57 Chevy.
See, that's a great story. I've never heard that one.
Who didn't know about a 57 Chevy rewinder?
My bad. Apparently, I should have known that, I guess.
Back when we went to Hills, they had rewinders.
Oh man, Hills.
Got done playing your Super Nintendo
Back
that
in
you
the
couldn't
electronics
afford.
section. Yep,
You
electronics.
walked to us and looked at the rewinders that you also
Did they
couldn't
have
afford.
Popcorn or slushies?
I don't know. I never got to partake in that.
Well, that's this 300-pound part. So
child-
I remember
child
like
abuse somewhere in there.
I remember like soft pretzels and popcorn.
So ironically, I
slushies.
remember going to Conley's out this way, and they had ice cream, and that was the best part of the trip.
What's Conley's?
Conley's it was in the Plaza on 193.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Was it somewhere? It was like a restaurant.
It was like a hardware store,
Oh.
but they had ice cream in the front. And that's where the
So that would have been like circa what 1996.
Ooh.
So
Probably.
old man Brown in circa 1996, riding in the backseat of his parents. What?
Crap. Well, it was a GM product because that's all we had.
It was a GM product because that's all we had.
Probably the '84 Buick Century sedan that my dad fixed from a wreck. He literally had points anchored in the floor and used the come-alongs that we broke doing this business to stretch the front end of the car out.
Oh no!
And then he put an '82 Buick front end on it. Well, no, it was an '86. That's what it was, with an '84 front clip. Because you couldn't buy an '86 front clip because he got it in like 1987 or '88.
So it was a brand new car when he got it.
He
got it as a salvage vehicle.
And he painted it. It was brown, like most '80s vehicles were.
The dirty brown. Oh god, '80s vehicles had the worst color palettes.
But of course, had white walls and the hubcaps, 14s.
Yeah, 14s.
And we drove that car a long time, and the battery lasted for like 6 or 7 years in that car. Had a 2.5 Iron Duke front wheel drive.
No way.
Yeah, that was a good car.
Way. Buick Century wagon?
Sedan.
Yeah. Okay.
He always had wagons. My mom had the sedan.
Oh, okay.
That was the nicest car we owned at the time.
But that was 10 years old at that point. So 96, that's relatively a 10-year-old car at that point.
And somewhere in there we got a '87 Cadillac DeVille that was silver with a blue interior, leather.
Was it also wrecked and brought back from
No,
the
that
dead?
was bought at the auction when my dad went to the car auction.
Did your dad buy any like regular vehicle? Like, oh hey, I just showed up in this guy's yard and I negotiated a little price, and did he do that?
I mean, yeah, we bought some old cars, but my dad always tried to have my mom have a nice car, and,
Which we attempt to do
we
for
all-
our spouses
we
as
still
well.
attempt to.
Right. Appreciate that.
But the Cadillac was my mom. That was the good car.
Oh, it was a Cadillac, of course it was.
Yeah, DeVille, and we tried to use that for special occasions and family trips, much like you want to do.
Much like. And hold on. We're doing a podcast. I'll be right out. Eat your dinner.
Fatherly duties.
Yes. Well, and eventually we'll bring the kids in here.
Oh boy.
Could you imagine that?
Oh God.
Have them give their input.
All the Aidenisms, not just the Scottisms.
You would just want to hug.
Yes. Let's just hug it out.
Just hug it out. And
lots of hey dad questions.
Oh yeah, it would only last for a few seconds though, because then our kids
Attention span's short.
Attention span 4 to 6. Who's the youngest? Evie's the youngest in the group.
She's
She's
3.
3, but then I have a 4-year-old, and we both have 6-year-olds. And,
Yep. Very short attention span.
Perfect, beautiful age though.
Yep.
So actually, we're supposed to be going to a performance night.
Yep.
Opening of the Christmas, and you're going to a thing tonight as well.
Yep.
Christmas thing.
Yep.
Because 'tis the season.
Yep.
We should do a Christmas podcast, like Santa in the back or something.
Oh boy.
All right, so you're going to Conley's after going to Hills in an 86
Buick Century.
Buick Century.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
Blue Moon ice cream that we made the creamery, great ice cream, local here in Conneaut. Actually, me and my wife requested Blue Moon ice cream from them, and they looked up the recipe and made it. And it's been a bestseller.
From Heavenly Creamery.
Yep.
Went back, found the recipe for Blue Moon ice cream.
Yep, has pineapple in it, which we'd had no idea.
And then offered it again because you guys requested it.
Everybody does now.
I know.
Ironically, my wife also remembers Blue Moon ice cream
from Conley's. That is the best.
Yeah.
Seriously, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And now they're offering it again because you guys were like, hey, this was like a staple of my childhood.
Well, we originally asked for it, and they did it to test it out, and we haven't had to ask for it back because they
No,
just
that's what I'm saying.
continue.
They keep making it, though.
Yeah.
But they brought it back. I mean, it's 20, 30 years, ago.
There was a place in Ashtabula that would make it, but there was just a flavor and a vanilla, and it wasn't the same.
No way.
Where that's homemade ice cream there, so it's
Yeah.
really good.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you're Heavenly Creamery is a cool business.
Yep.
What a ability to see around the bend, if you will, see around the corner as a business owner, and take an abandoned church, which I don't know how much they pay for it, but I mean, churches got to you got to think they sell cheap.
Yeah, but it's really nice shape.
And they remodeled it. And
has a stained glass. It's really cool. That's one of the cool things. If you come to our shop, you get to try these cool places.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we should do. We should bring in some of these people and be like, tell us about Heavenly Creamery, or tell us about the break wall, or
I'll do that in the spring because now they're all closed.
Well, yeah.
In the Great White North here.
We take Blue down to.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
We're gonna make it.
We could drive Blue to the stores.
We could tow Blue to the stores.
No, don't talk about that now. Don't talk about that. Blue doesn't need towed anywhere. Blue just started in subarctic temperatures after months of sitting.
Yeah, it's a custom front-wheel drive Blue right now.
Stop it.
He keeps breaking, poor Blue.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. But that is the beauty of what Blue is. He's resilient.
Yeah.
Oh, he represents the American spirit. That's what I'm going to say.
Only slightly broken.
Huh.
So what else we want to talk about?
Oh, I was on a roll. I was going to talk about Blue.
Oh, jeez.
Because, he was...
Dead horse.
Oh. Oh, fine then. Guess we won't.
So what were you riding around in circa 1996?
Circa 96 was a S10 Blazer.
Yep.
Again, GM-based products.
Yep.
Your
mom had them giant
Oldsmobiles.
Oldsmobiles.
There was Oldsmobiles. All the 90s were Oldsmobiles. So that was Cutlass Supremes.
I think they went for the bigger cars than we did. We were always mid-size.
Right. Well, my mom driving to Willoughby, almost Cleveland, every day.
Right.
And she was, those Cutlasses. It was actually a really great car in the 90s.
Yep.
Funny thing, when I met my wife, she had a Cutlass Supreme too.
Oh boy.
Same vintage.
Yeah.
We used to call it the DTG. That one got a lot of good memories. But that was a 2-door, so that was it was a sporty.
Big door.
Huge door.
Oof.
How they had the hinges for that door
fall off is just American.
How it didn't fall off.
Yeah.
It's it's almost like the Thunderbird though.
Oh boy. They actually made a Century like we had in a 2-door, but they're really rare.
Really?
Yeah. I think stick shift was an option too.
I gotta imagine that was absolutely ugly.
Yeah. It's a huge door.
Huge door.
Yeah. My dad has all those same cars, but they were all wagons. We had a 83 Oldsmobile wagon, and then we went to a 88 Oldsmobile wagon, which were all mid-sized cars, front-wheel drive. And then we had a 91 Euro Sport wagon, Century.
Oh, okay.
Or no, yeah, Celebrity.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It was Euro Sport, all monochromatic, white paint, gray interior. And then we had a 96 Buick Century wagon. And then he went to Windstars. It was a very weird time.
That was his transition into Windstars.
Yeah.
So we were a Dodge Spirit and then Cutlasses. So that was the early 90s would have been a Dodge Spirit, and then we went into Cutlasses. Had a couple of Cutlasses, then Buicks.
We had a 85 4-wheel drive Chevy that rusted just sitting in the driveway. And my 68 Chevy I have now is always around the house, but never got used.
Well, that's probably best, because my dad had a K5. So if we go all the way back to the late 80s, that was actually one of the first big 4-wheel drives that I remember working on. I'm gonna do air quotes on that one because I mean, that was our kids' our kids' age.
Yelled at.
Yeah, well, I held the flashlight a lot.
Yeah, got yelled at.
Well, you know what I did was he's working on this K5, and he had these great stories about blizzards, and he had to drive into town with a tire on. It was a tractor tire, so he put it on the hood of the truck.
Of course he did.
Of course he did, right?
Yeah.
put it and strapped it to the hood of the
carrying
truck.
on the family legacy there.
We like to precariously strap things to the top of vehicles.
Yes.
And but anyways, that vehicle, that K5, he took his wedding ring off to work, and he set it up in the the dash or the cup holder or something.
Yeah,
And
it didn't have a cup holder then. Oh, they could have, being a K5.
I honestly don't know. I don't remember. He would not remember.
We
either.
never had cup holders.
Well, we were living
weren't that fruit.
That Cadillac had to have cup holders.
Had lots of ashtrays
Oh man,
and lighters.
that's so true. Anyway, so the K5, that's so true. Think about our priorities then. It was,
right.
all the cars had ashtrays.
And I light a cigarette from the back seat.
Right. But don't worry about drink holders.
No.
But anyway, so I lost his ring. I lost his wedding ring.
Oh boy.
I don't think he yelled at me for that though. I don't remember.
Might still have it coming. You don't know.
No, he found it.
Oh, that's good.
But not that day. It was right before he sold it. He was cleaning it out. You're trying to clean it up and everything. And it was like, 6 months to a year later, and he found his wedding ring.
Oh, that's
so, I mean, that was a pretty big deal.
I can imagine. My dad never wore his because he was always worried about losing a finger.
Right, which is commonplace in our workplace. But that's a whole other story. My grandfather's, none of them, and then they had nubbins, lost all the fingers.
I was actually thinking about for this, like, earliest garage memories for me.
Oh my goodness.
And I actually have a photo. My dad had a 36 Ford 5-window coupe that he made the frame for, and it had a V6 out of, I think, like a Malibu or something like that, carbureted, and he made a gas tank for it that was 30 gallons. And his ambition was he was going to fill the gas tank and try to drive towards California and see how far he could get on a tank of fuel.
No.
So it had a Nova front clip.
Oh, Fred Brown.
And then a Nova rear end. And I still have the title, I think, from the car he cut up to put underneath that 36 body.
No.
And he leaded in taillights in the back and sunk in the license plate in the rear panel. And we have pictures of me like this.
Right, playing on the steering wheel.
Playing on the steering wheel as somewhere between probably about Rose's age.
No
and,
way.
Might be even younger than that because I had a diaper on. So anyway, but I was dragging the jack around and jacking things up in the garage. And I actually have pictures of that.
No, you're going to have to bring those in. You're going to have to. So wait, it had a V6 in it.
Yep.
He made a 30-gallon tank.
Yep. Huge.
Did he, like, steel tank? How did he make a 30-gallon?
Literally welded up flat steel.
He welded up flat steel.
To make a 30-gallon
Throw
tank.
a sending unit or something in it.
Yep. And
for the V6, carbureted V6 then.
He sold the car to a guy, I think in Geneva, and he owned it for a long time, changed the motor to a V8, and then he passed away from cancer and ended up at a car lot in Ashtabula across from the mall.
I'm sorry, the 34 Ford?
36.
36 Ford?
Yep.
With a what chassis underneath of it?
Homemade. With
homemade chassis.
Nova front clip.
With a Nova front clip.
And Nova rear end.
Can you imagine where that car is right now?
I actually wonder where that car is. It was painted white, pearl white. It was really funny when it went to the dealership. They wanted to make it look classy, so they took the hood sides off and put flat panels there, and then it had overheating problems because the air couldn't get out.
Because they couldn't get the air out of the engine bay.
But it was always this thing. You'll notice a theme here too is that he never finished it and he sold it. So then there was this stigma of Brown's not finishing anything.
Well, that's until you come along.
From.
Yeah, but you
finally finished one.
Yeah, well, you finished a bunch of things at this point. Impressive record, really, at this point. But there was definitely the.
But that's honestly thinking like my current car chase. I'm thinking about getting in 30, trying to get a 36.
Which is totally what we need to talk about, like on another day. Is your current car chase or any of my myriad of
crazy
projects that probably shouldn't be happening all at the same time.
Yeah.
But the car and the just the amazing mishmash of parts that it is. It's like when somebody brings in some of ours and we're like, well, what story is this Jeep telling us?
Yeah.
Could you imagine somebody who's trying to piece together what this car is? It's sitting in somebody's barn.
Yeah.
You know that it's sitting in somebody's barn or their garage, and they're going,
what in the heck is this?
What is this? You know?
Which is why Dad made books after that of what he used. The Pontiac clearly has a folder this thick
Really?
of what part and part number.
So when you say leaded in the taillights, maybe not everybody knows what that means. What?
So pre body filler, like Bondo days, you literally used lead, beeswax, and a wooden paddle. And you would use a torch, a special head, and you would warm up the area and tin it. And then you would have these big sticks of, it wasn't pure lead, it was a tin lead mix.
Right.
And dab it on the panel, keep that up, and then you would take your wooden paddle and dip it in beeswax and then move it around.
Right.
And then you'd have a rasp, and you would rasp it off rough, and then you would just work it from there.
Work it smooth.
And all, I'd say 60s, maybe even 70s cars down, all the panel gaps are done with lead. They're not done with plastic.
Right.
And
right. And that's one of those old skills that that really old school hot rod builders still talk about. But
probably why they all have cancer.
oh boy.
Yeah,
that
Dad
is
was an old school body guy. Lead and blacker paint and nose mask.
which I mean totally I would love to find an old school hot rod guy and talk to him about that process,
Yeah.
but that's for another day.
Yeah.
And we have, I mean, again, the joy of this is we got so many cool stories, and hopefully we can share with other people and the process and just the cool things that we're able to bring into SFJ because of our experience and what we hope to bring out to not only the off-road community but the auto community in general. So we appreciate everyone who's listened today or watched, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel. And until next time, we'll see you on the trails.